Hi, this is page 3 and 4 of the Graphing Rational Functions practice. I started videoing this before and it might get cut off, so I'm just doing it again quickly here. So you're going to have a vertical asymptote of -5, a horizontal asymptote of -2 after you put a 0 in here, and domain and range are as follows. They can't equal those values, but they can equal anything else. So you draw in the asymptotes. You plot at a couple points and you can see the general shape. On number 2, the vertical asymptote is x equals 0. Okay, the horizontal asymptote is y equals 6. Horizontal is 6 because you put a 0 here and you get 6. Your vertical asymptote is x equals 0 because that's the only thing that makes the denominator equal to 0. And those are our constraints, domain and range, and there's our graph. So your domain and range, right now, so what do you have here? Your x-intercept is -7, 0, because -7 makes the numerator equal to 0. Vertical asymptote 2 makes the denominator equal to 0, so those are your two asymptotes. Oh, excuse me, that's your vertical asymptote and the x-intercept. -7, 0 right here. Y equals -1 is our horizontal asymptote because you have x over x. And you draw on your curve there. There's no hole because you have no common factor. Factor it out. Factor out these two expressions. You factor out x plus 1, which means it's -1. So -1 is the x value of the whole. You put -1 back into this, and you get -1 also. So it's -1, -1, that's your whole. X-intercept is none. There is no x-intercept. So if there is no x-intercept, there's no x-intercept because nothing can make the numerator equal to 0. Your vertical asymptote is 1. Because that makes the denominator equal to 0. Your horizontal asymptote is 0 because the denominator has a higher degree. The whole is -1, -1 for the reasons I already specified, and that's your domain and range. Can't be at the whole, and it cannot be at the asymptote. So that's your curve. Second page. Factor out common terms. You get x plus 2 is factored out, so you're left with x minus 1 over 3. So -2 is where the whole is. You put -2 back in, and you get -1. So the whole is -2, -1. And no horizontal, no vertical asymptote because you can't make the denominator equal to 0. No horizontal asymptote because the numerator has a higher degree. X-intercept is 1, 0. X-intercept is 1, 0. Let me double check that one. Yeah, sorry, it's slightly off there, but you get the idea. And there's our domain and range. So here we factor these out, and you get x minus 4 and x minus 4. So x equals 4 is where the whole is. You put 4 back in, you get -2/5. So it's 4 -2/5 is your whole. X-intercept is 2, 0 because that makes the numerator equal to 0. Vertical asymptote x equals 9. Okay, because that makes the denominator equal to 0. Horizontal asymptote is y equals 1 because the ratio of the degrees is 1. And then domain and range are as follows. They can't be at the whole and they can't be at the asymptote. So if you plot a couple points, then you'll get the general shape. X-intercept is, so you factor out these guys and you get x plus 5. So x minus, so -5 is the x coordinate of the whole. You put it back in, you get 5/13. So -5, 5/13. That's the whole right there. Okay, and then what do you got? Your asymptotes. So your vertical asymptote is going to be x equals 1.5. So 2x minus 3 equals 0, so you're going to get x equals 3/2. So x equals 3/2 is our vertical asymptote. X-intercept 0, 0, because that's the only thing that makes the denominator equal to 0. That's only make the numerator equal to 0, sorry. Horizontal asymptote is the ratio here. It's going to be 1/2. This hole should be a little bit under that. Should be here, really. Okay, and then 1/2. And you put some points in here. And you get one negative 1. Yes, you put in a 1, you get negative 1. Down here you have the other half of the graph. 1, 1. It's going to be 2, 2. There you go, that's the general idea. Sorry for the lack of clarity there. And your domain is x such that x does not equal 3/2 or negative 5. And the range y such that y does not equal 0.5 or 5/13. Oh, 1/2. Not 0.5, 1/2. Unlike fractions. 1/2 or 5/13. Okay, let's do this one. So write a reciprocal function with asymptotes such and such and such and such. Well, if it has an asymptote of x equals 4, it's vertical. That means the denominator has to be equal to 0 when x equals 4. So it's got to be x minus 4. And it has to have a y equals 9 is a horizontal asymptote. So that's got to be negative 9. So as this goes to 0 right here, then it has to be a minus 9 here to have a horizontal asymptote of y equal negative 9. Now here you want to have a rational function with an x-intercept of 1, 0. With the vertical asymptotes of negative 3 and negative 5. What is the horizontal asymptote? Well, if you got f of x, you're going to have x minus 1 in order to have an x-intercept of 1, 0. It's got to be x minus 1. And in order to have a vertical asymptote of negative 3, it's got to be x plus 3 and x plus 5. So in order to know what the horizontal asymptote has to be, well, if you multiply that out, you'd get x minus 1 over x squared plus 8x plus 15. And so if you take the horizontal asymptote, take the ratio, not the ratio, the denominator has a higher degree, so that means it's going to go towards y equals 0. So that's our horizontal asymptote, y equals 0. There you go.